Well, yes, we're now being joined by Mr. Matthias Sado, who is a public affairs analyst and also the convener of the Hope Platform Initiative. I just want to ask you, in the spirit, just in case you're wondering, why it looked like we seem very upbeat this December season. We've been talking about Dirty December behind the scenes, and I'm just a little curious. Are you traveling for Christmas?
Well, I don't think I'll be able to travel for Christmas considering the current economic situation in the country.
Wow. I mean, especially when you now consider the airfares. I mean, if you decide to go by air to wherever it is you're going, by road, well,
it's not the best of times for
full Abuja.
Yeah, we're going to. I think from all indications,
yeah.
we'll probably be thinking of having a dirty Abuja.
And maybe it's something I should be. Yeah, because we heard the federal government did say that they were going to do something about keying into that. What did you, how many billion?
$2 billion
naira or dollars economy. I think it was the Minister for Culture and Tourism who had said that there was going to be a task force. What we do not know is if that task force would also include Abuja.
Well, it's a suggestion now to them, considering the fact that the government seems to have been. And again, sometimes when I say these things, people think that maybe I'm just being critical about the government. But sincerely speaking, if you look at what is happening in the country today, nobody is really impressed by the ongoings in the Nigerian state. The government has not demonstrated capacity to do a lot of things. So perhaps suggestions such as these might be one of the things that could help them. However, I know that some of us have thrown a lot of ideas and suggestions out there for government to harness and be able to build a better society for us, for the people. However, unfortunately, I think nobody seems to be thinking in that direction. If they consider a dirty December in Abuja, dirty December in Kaduna, then if it's such a big industry, and I believe it should be, if it's something that is going to bring a lot of resources for FCT, I would consider it's something that they should pay attention to.
Our figures are wrong. Our figures are wrong. It's actually a lot more. Just last year, they made $71.6 million. That's about 54 billion naira. So I'm sure what the minister was looking at is a $2 billion.
Yeah, it's $2 billion. You said
plan. Yeah. Well, we said naira.
It's $2 billion.
Yeah, $2 billion. That's a lot of money.
It is.
Well, I do know that the National Assembly, they've been quite concerned about the cost of flight tickets and what have you. I do not know what your thoughts are with regards to the intervention of the National Assembly. Those who say, we should be careful, this is a deregulated industry. We shouldn't be. Do you think our government has a role in helping to bring down the cost of airfare?
You see, again, sometimes these things are not detached from one another. The National Assembly trying to intervene in the aviation industry, asking questions about the price of airfare is neither here or there, because fundamentally a lot of things have gone wrong. Since the deregulation of the petrol industry, the removal of subsidy by the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and I'll keep going back to the President of this country because the buck stopped at his desk. Since the removal of subsidy, fuel subsidy, what exactly can we lay our fingers on today that this is what has been achieved? This is 3 years, almost 3 years down the line. So when government officials come up with some of these analyses, and we just look at what we saw yesterday at the National Assembly, at the bow and go, I don't know, shenanigan, that you are sending people to a very important and strategic, on a very strategic assignment. It is like when a Roman Empire wants to send a general on a mission to another country to go and represent him, and then you pick people, you pick somebody, and then they go before the Senate, and then the Senate say, Okay, don't tell us anything. Don't even bother to give us a history of your what's it called, your profile. Just you are a wife of a former governor. Just bow and go. These things are irritating to my spirit because really, as a society, when you became a channel staff, did you bow and go before the leadership of Channels Television? Kela, was that what you did when you applied to work here? The work you are doing here today, if it was bow and go that they have that gave you this job, would you have been able to do it like this? So you see, we have leadership in Nigeria, and it worries me because, sincerely speaking, we are drifting into adopting these things as systems, as style, as strategies, that this is how our life is as a society. It is becoming a norm, and for me, it is something that worries me because I believe that in this country we have some of the most excellent, best set of people that can deliver this country, that can give to Nigerians a society that works. So when we see this kind of caricature that leaders at the National Assembly, look, there is a whole lot that is wrong with the system. There's a whole lot that is wrong with the system. If they call, they want to intervene in the, what's it called, the aviation industry, they should ask themselves, the National Assembly that we have today, have the budget of 2024 has it completely been implemented? What happened to the capital component of 2025 budget? So what we are hearing, in fact, for the first time in my life, I am seeing a situation where contractors in this country are protesting that, look, and sincerely speaking, I always tell you that I'm an economist by choice. Look, the situation that the government is creating for the society is such that when we get into 2026, they probably would want to release funds, perhaps because of general elections of 2027. However, the problem that they have not put into consideration is the fact that the backlog of 2025, they have so many contractors who have incurred all kinds of interest rate from the banks. And the banks will never allow them, they are not going to write off those interests. So when we get into 2026, whatever amount of funds you are releasing them, some of them to take care of the backlog of 2026. That means that by 2026, the projects that you want to execute will not be executed. This is the reason why we have a lot of failed projects in Nigeria. Between 2015 and 2023, we have seen a display of lack of clarity by the leadership of the APC. And I'm not sounding this because I'm not a member of APC. I'm saying this because clearly on the street of this country, I was just coming here this morning and listening to radio programs, a lot of complaints everywhere that, okay, the president is saying, they're talking about December and all that. How are people going to go home? You just asked me. The people that we have, artisans that go to do daily activities, daily services in businesses or places where they have construction centers and all that. All of these things are not working because all of them are shut down. You have a situation where somebody who was given a project to build a school has borrowed money from bank, and he had started the project. But because funds are not released, the man has told all his staff to go back home. I have a friend, this is not hearsay, I have a friend who has shut down his business.
You know, so only yesterday, 2 days ago, I think it was the president who had a meeting I think this was almost lost. I don't know if our producer can quickly produce that particular track. And it was a very, I think what was interesting for me was we rarely hear the president these days. So it stood out for me because it was one of the very few times. We will hear that, oh, the presidency has ordered or the president has ordered, but we rarely hear from the president himself, except if he's at a gathering and those engagements now will seem like they're few and far between. On this particular occasion, though, he was speaking like he was in cabinet, giving instructions as to reiterating the fact that, you know, his order with regards to police being deployed to VIP still stands, is in place.
Right.
And then he also expressed concern, I think even more than concern, with regards to the fact that contractors have not been paid. I mean, I think he was saying something to the effect that we are a sovereign state. If indeed, you know, we are in such a dire situation, even though it's kind of hard to reconcile, and you might be right on the fact that we need a little more clarity, because we say we've not made this much revenue in a long time. The CBN is telling us our forex reserves are growing, and yet we seem to be borrowing more than ever. And he also did say that if we're in such a situation where we've found it unable to pay our contractors, we could have borrowed to pay them, that they were that important and that strategic in the scheme of things for us to prioritize payment for contractors. I do not know if the track is ready now, but I want to believe that this was the event of Wednesday when that meeting eventually held. If it is ready, I can get a signal in I can get a confirmation, but it would be nice. I think we're almost out of time. Well, to at least listen to what it is that he said with regards to that, and whether you found that as any comfort with regards to the statements he made at that particular meeting.
Well, you see, the thing is that it's an embarrassment for us to look at, to discuss this issue, if at all. It was just 2 days ago that the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria will realize that backlogs of projects that are supposed to have been funded by his government, that it has not been done. It has, and then he's just like they always say, the president expresses shock that such kind of things are happening in his government. Is a failure of leadership. In the simplest term that I can put it, it means that you, as the man at the helm of affairs, you are not aware of what is happening within your environment, and that tells you why we are having so much of this kind of problems.
Because so you don't find it any comfort?
No, I am rather embarrassed on behalf of the president that if at all that he realizes that that was an issue, he should have quickly asked them to shut down and have an immediate inner cycle conversation. It's not something that you come on air to let the whole world know that you, as the president of the country, do not know what you are doing. Because that is what it means.
Well, we'll see if it eventually translates into action and the National Assembly also doesn't get involved in this. But, Mr. Sado, time is never our friend. You say you're spending your Christmas here in Abuja. We wish you all the very best.
Thank
the best
you.
to you and your family. And your
happy Christmas to Nigerians, even though things are not as we expected.
Yeah.
But let there be hope. By the grace of God, not hope like Tinubu's hope by 2027, we should get it right in Nigeria.
We'll see about that. We have to thank you for coming on to Sunrise Daily this morning, Mr. Matthias Sado. He's a public affairs analyst and also the convener of the Hope Platform Initiative.